Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I have an instructive game to share with you from round 7 of the late titled Tuesday held on July 8th. On the white end, Hikaru Nakamura playing against Hans Niemann. Okay, 3+1 time control. We're looking at the Trompowsky Attack. Now with this win, Nakamura's blitz rating reached 34-12, and he would do one better in the following round, defeating Jeffrey Zhang. He set a new blitz record, a ridiculous 34-16. So good luck to anybody out there not named Hikaru Nakamura breaking that one. The follow-up in this game here, we have d5, e3, c5, minor piece imbalance, d takes c, and from here to z6. Now, with e6, the bishop's eyes open up, just looking to recapture. A question here, why not try to extract a little bit more out of the e-pawn? Why not go 2? And in the process, keep this diagonal open for the light square bishop. The problem playing in this way is that d5 is vulnerable. White could continue with queen f3, and believe it or not, a position like this is already considered winning for white. 2 attackers on d5, a third right around the corner. Do know this pin is not a problem. The knights can be connected, c3 reinforced. It's important that black just go one step, a baby step here. d5 secure. Follow up a3, looking to hang on to the pawn. Okay, it's swiped in time, but there is still a point behind a3, revealed right now. Expansion with tempo. Knights connected, and e5. So this is an important middle game moment. The evaluation at this stage, about minus 0.3. Nakamura's move, bishop e2. How the computer wants to run it, it says immediately challenge this duo. It wants to go with c4. Now I want to draw some attention to this top move and the few different reactions black has pawn-wise. So in the case of the capture, that's simple enough to cover. You recapture, develop a new piece. That would be very helpful for white. In the case of d4, computer notes queen c2, or even look to expand with your majority. Open up c4 in the process for multiple pieces. Do know in these lines with d4, white is prepared to take on an isolated pawn. I'm talking about an isolated e-pawn. With that structural shift, something white can look forward to. Activity for the rook on the f-file, where it will observe more than one gap in black's camp, weakness, holes on f5, f6. Finally, e4 in response to c4. White is prepared to sweep the leg, remove the defender of this point. If pawn takes knight, and those lines, white is coming out ahead for sure. Do know if black is without this e-pawn, these 2 pawns right here become isolated. That much more weakened. How the computer wants to run it in this position, you recapture, white gets to develop with tempo, queen has to play to f5, only square where she defends e4, follow up from here, knight h4. So that's a top line, queen g5 in this position, you hang on to the knight, you'd be threatening e4 in that position. No time for disruptive bishop h3. In the case of queen e5, it says castle. If you meet queen e5 with g3, bishop h3, that piece is going to be a pest. The detail here with queen e5 and castles and f5 targeting this knight, that would be a window for white to play timely queen h5, hanging on to the knight. Anyhow, very sharp middle game moment to be sure. We don't see an immediate challenge of the duo. bishop e2 instead. e4 hits, knight rocked back home. Follow up f5. This bishop is unopposed, now has access to this main diagonal. Black is just one key pawn break or two, ideally on a dark square, from having an excellent position. This bishop can easily be an out-of-control piece. d5, f4 in the air. Nakamura does not want to see the d4 break, holds that one up, plays c3 here, and now top in the computer's eyes, the move in the game, f5. So this is nearly a -1 eval, around -0.7. Pawn sacrifice line. This softens up d4. Also, what may be in the air is an e3 pawn break, breaking down dark squares, creating holes. Follow up from here, rook g8, g3, c3 under fire, defended, follow up, bishop e6. Computer doesn't see this as best, very routine-like move, developing a new piece. It wants to run with a5 in this position. A move that's maybe a bit more appealing in a way now that the rook is committed to the c file. If there's going to be the capture, the a file is now uncontested. Now, if white responds to a5 with b5 saying, I don't want to see the a file open up, here's what black can point to. c5, now a hole. And this a pawn may now be a bit more vulnerable. So one day, queen on one of these two, maybe the bishop, rerouting there. a3 may be a target. The other detail, this knight is sort of being pushed now in a direction it may want to go to anyway. I'm talking about this dream square, really, for the knight within this structure, f5. Take a moment or two to digest what that knight would be doing exactly. It would be supporting two excellent pawn breaks. This position can easily collapse for white. All right, how it is played, we see bishop e6, bishop b5, queen b6. We're looking at about an even position. Bishop for knight exchange, the imbalance we are working with, two bishops versus two knights. Now let's consider the pawn breaks in this position. a5, c5, d4, e3. Nakamura has control over many of these breaks more than once. a5 covered twice. Same story with c5. d4 3 times. What about e3? Just once. Now black has support for e3, but e3 can be met with knight c5, cutting off the queen's influence immediately on that diagonal. In the game, bishop g4 is played. Computer does not like this. It shifts in white's favor after that. Here's how the computer wants to run it. It says, even in this position, play a5. And what would be the idea after knight captures pawn? Not what I was initially thinking. I was thinking after this recapture, oh, this is your window to now play c5. The knight isn't controlling that, and you certainly cannot take on c5. You'll hang a knight. The idea is also not to go for an exchange sacrifice, although that might not be too far away at this stage. What black is basically saying with this pawn sacrifice is that this knight is now pinned and less central, has less of an influence on these pawn breaks at a later stage. It wants to respond to knight captures A in this position with h5 looking to open up another wing, or even a slower move. It's saying take a step aside with the king. Here's the move I want to draw some attention to. If black in this position responds with c5, this would be losing for black because white would have a deflection trick with f5. bishop takes f5, queen takes d5, and this position will collapse for black. Okay, at the end of the day, we do not see this pawn sacrifice idea, this second pawn sacrifice. It is bishop g4, queen d2, not an inconvenience, queen watches over, this e3 break, follow up, queenside castles, once more, computer wants a5, all right, in the end, a5 never played, queenside castles, knight e2, watching out over the d4 break, rook d to e8 played, computer's looking at this try, after rook d to e8, things are well under control here for Nakamura. e3 is nearby, but it's shut down straight away. Knight d4 cuts off the queen from supporting that advance. Follow up h5, queen e3, bishop h3, no kingside castles. But even if this was possible, legal, you probably don't want to go in that direction anyway, with this pawn break nearby, invasive pawn on e4 opposite the rook. Nakamura's approach, slick one, king d2, and king c2. This is the king's home. Two knights, safeguard the king. There's no getting at him. Everything under control at this stage. Follow up, bishop d7, knight improvement, challenged but reinforced. Knights remain connected. White remains in control. Bishop g4, h4, cutting out any pawn break on the king side. From here, queen b5, a4, queen goes back, and now rook b1. Stacking the rooks at this stage. Rook b2, rook h to b1. In the end, Nakamura is saying, what? And this file is not open just yet. He's saying, I can now improve this knight. Knight d4 it is. And if you're going to take this knight, you're going to unleash these monsters. Called a poison knight on c5. Follow up, king to d8, good as any at this stage. Maybe trying to run away, but there's no running away at this point. That's just how it is. Let me throw this one to you as a pop quiz. What would your move be here? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, in just a few moves, Nakamura is going to bank some material. We see a5, only safe square for the queen, c7, and now there's a fork on a6. So Nakamura wins the exchange, follows up with b5. When I was preparing for this video, I thought to myself, b5, why not just take on c6 with the fork? Then I realized, okay, that rook defending that pawn, b5 is the way. And now what are you supposed to do? Knight ready to crash through. c5, knight c6. If you capture, rook recaptures. The rooks are just way too out of control. No taming the rooks. The try is with queen c7, knight takes c6, rook takes knight. Many of these moves, I imagine, just being played out of momentum by this stage. Rook check, bishop blocks, queen captures a7, past a pawn, b6 opens up for the pieces. There's now a threat to swipe the bishop. King takes, rook b8 for mate, or queen recaptures, rook b8, pin and win of the queen. Black covers b8, queen b6 check, queen captures queen, and before Nakamura can recapture, Niemann resigned here. So a very interesting game, I would say, out of this Trompowsky attack. Your thoughts with this one? Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. I hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.